Hey you guys, today we're going to be looking at all of Titan's abilities that Clive uses in Final Fantasy XVI. Welcome to my breakdown series, Final Fantasy XVI's Eikonic style system. The first ability we see is Titanic Block. This shows Clive throwing up an arm of rock to guard against this initial attack. This is then combined into a counterattack with this 3-hit punch attack. These really pack a punch, and I love how heavy these look. The camera work and sound design do an incredible job of really making these attacks look and feel so good. As this is footage without the HUD, it was hard to tell at first whether this was all one attack or abilities stacked on top of each other. With the newest State of Play trailer though, we can definitely see that Titanic Block does not automatically trigger a counterattack. We do see though an ability in the PAX East showcase that was called Raging Fists, so I imagine this is the combo attack we see here. Also, one last thing to note about Titanic Block, it seems like you really just don't take any damage from attacks. So this is actually a really good way to either block a combo and see how to dodge it and see where the openings are, or to block against a mob attack and catch your breath. Let's look at the next Titan ability, Upheaval. This has Clive summoning a fist to pound the ground. In the air, it expands right before you hit the ground, and a dome of energy surrounds you as Clive strikes the ground. Pillars shoot up out of the ground as well, knocking surrounding enemies skyward. It's a nice AoE ability to clear out the area around you. At PAX East, we also got footage of what this looks like when you're grounded, as well as how this attack will look in-game with a gauge that determines how strong the attack is. It seems to be the same animation as well, and we get to see how this wind-up works. It seems there will be a sweet spot where we get the most damage out depending on where we stop this gauge. These small yellow spaces are probably the critical hits that will give us the most damage output. Anyways, when you use Upheaval on the ground and hit this red marker, the same kind of attack happens, but instead of one hand, 2 Titan hands are spawned. During the newest State of Play footage, we also got a look at a lower level attack when you hit it early. No pillars are shot up from the ground, and Clive actually uses one hand instead of 2. I also wonder if this will be somehow connected with the upgrade. Like when we first get the ability, maybe it'll only do one kind of attack, and then as we upgrade it, we'll get access to this gauge to power up the attack. Or maybe if we tap it, it'll give us a different attack than just holding the button. So a quick tap will just do the level 1 attack without a gauge popping up, and then if we hold it, it'll bring up the gauge. Obviously we don't have any evidence for all this, just me kind of spitballing. Let's look at the next ability, Wind Up. This is a charged punch attack. As you charge up, the Titan hand grows bigger, and it seems like when you hit this red spot, rocks spike out around the hand. So it does seem like where you stop this gauge does impact and upgrade the attack. This attack looks insane with a thruster that pushes the punch forward as the spiked rocks spin around the hand. Rather than the previous abilities where we saw AoE abilities, this one seems more for single target enemies where you'll hit the enemy with a single powerful blow. Though it could be good for just clearing out the area in front of you. The next ability we get is a cinematic finisher-esque attack where Clive summons both Titan arms and thrusts them into the ground. He then swipes his hands upwards and the Titan hands launch forward a tidal wave of rock pillars. This is confirmed to be called Earth and Fury in the PAX East gameplay demo. It's really interesting how a lot of these names are actually from the Final Fantasy XIV attacks. I love those subtle callbacks and connections. Anyways, this seems great for, of course, pushing mobs of enemies away to get some breathing room. And that's all I've seen so far for the Titan's attacks and abilities. I think this is going to be a great form to use on crowd control, but mostly for staying alive at intense moments. A Titanic Block negating most damage, and a lot of your abilities being able to either create a safe area around you or push enemies back seems like it's good for creating some safe space around you to recover. Though there are some standout abilities like Wind Up and Raging Fists that might be a good option to use against icons or sub-bosses. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed this deep dive on the iconic battle system of Final Fantasy XVI. If you want to see more, leave a like or drop a comment. That really helps me out with the algorithm. If you enjoy this, I've done a ton of content over on Kingdom Hearts, so click the cards on screen to see that. A huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. If you enjoy this and you want to throw me some support, you can throw me $1 over on YouTube. Become a member, get some nice emotes and a badge beside your name. Really helps me out. Anyways, see you in the next video.